What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome in to episode 124, everybody. I am your host, Sleazeball. Today's episode will be my Week 9 wide receiver tier rankings. Remember, 49ers and Bears are on a bye, so get them out of your lineups this week. Before we dive into it, guys, make sure you smash that like, make sure you smash the subscription, turn that bell on. It helps me out a ton. I will be live for my birthday on Halloween Thursday. I'll be in a suit, outfit, everything, makeup on. It's going to be a fun stream. If you guys cannot make the stream, guys, you can always drop any comments, questions you have down below. One of my goals is to answer them all as a content creator to help you guys win your weekly matchups and get you that ultimate goal of the trophy at the end of the season, guys. And my running back, quarterback, defense, kickers, and waiver wire, all that is out for you guys to check out as well if you guys want to see that. My goal is also to get you guys all my content before the Thursday kickoff. And let's dive into my wide receiver rankings, guys. So if you guys are new to the channel, this is my wide receiver board heading into week 9 here. So the ballers tier at the top, the must start smash wide receivers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. I have DK Metcalf in my picture over here because we do not know his status yet, but I will get to him in the rankings when we get to that part. And at the bottom, guys, you're going to see all the wide receivers that are out. So you have Shaheed season over. Nico Collins should be back next week. Jameson Williams with the suspension, one more game. Rashee Rice season over. Chris Godwin season over. Brandon Ayuk season over. Stephon Diggs season over. The injuries are just ridiculous this year. Mike Evans looks like a week 11 return. On the far left here, these are the wide receivers on a bye. So Deebo Samuel, George Pickens. And then Deontay Johnson traded to the Baltimore Ravens today, which is massive for him, but I don't think I'm going to put him into my rankings on his first game with the team there. I think it'll be a slow adjustment, kind of like D-Hop moving to the Chiefs. So moving on here, guys. Number 1 wide receiver on the week, none other than Justin Jefferson, the king of fantasy football himself. This man is just an absolute monster. You get the Indianapolis Colts. And in this game, the Indianapolis Colts rank 18th versus the wide receiver, giving up 32.1 points. They rank 24th in the red zone, giving up 7.5 to wide receivers. So there's a high touchdown upside there for Jettis. 150 yards on the season just to the wide receiver position alone, which is bottom 10 in the NFL. And now you get the update of Joe Flacco is going to be the starting QB for the Indianapolis Colts. That is going to make this game a higher scoring game. That is a better QB for the Colts offense. I know people are going to say Anthony Richardson. I've watched enough of this guy. He needs to sit back and learn. I know you may not be going anywhere in the season. Maybe the Colts aren't Super Bowl contenders, but still, you got to put the best product on the field, and Joe Flacco is a better quarterback. It's going to boost Michael Pittman. It's going to boost Josh Downs. May even boost Jonathan Taylor in the run game, although it's a tough matchup for the Vikings. And the Vikings may be getting TJ Hawkinson back this week too, so Sam Darnold is going to go to he's one of my smash starts this week. But Justin Jefferson, you can book him for 15 to 20 points almost every single week. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Jamar Get Silly Chase. This is a must-win game for the Bengals. They're playing the Oakland Raiders, who are 2-6. The Bengals are 3-5. The Bengals have not won a home game this year. This has to be the feed Jamar Chase game, and I don't even care about this. The Raiders are very good versus the wide receiver. They rank 8th. They give up 28.1 points per game. They rank 14th in the red zone, so a top 10 defense pretty much all around versus the wide receiver position, and only 126 yards. But I don't see the Las Vegas Raiders offense moving the ball much here. I know the Bengals defense isn't amazing, but this is going to be the perfect match. I mean, Devontae Adams out of town. Jacoby Myers is back. The Raiders' run game is shot. So I expect, even if T. Higgins is out there, I expect 8-10 targets for Jamar Chase and him to go absolutely bonkers in this game at home. Number 3 is going to be A.J. Brown. Now, this one, if you guys have watched any of my other videos, is going to be hard for me, right? Because I love this matchup to the max. The Jacksonville Jaguars are terrible versus every position. So versus the wide receiver, they're 29th, giving up 40 points a game to the wide receiver position. They rank 19th in the red zone, so the touchdown upside is there. They give up 177 pass yards to the wide receiver position alone. That's 4th worst in the NFL. But now you have everyone's out. You have Christian Kirk out, BTJ day to day. He may be out there after an update of 2 to 4 weeks, so that kind of changed there. You have Gabe Davis with the shoulder. Sorry, I blanked on his name. He popped his shoulder. He may be out there. ETN still banged up. I mean, how I look at this game is this could be the Eagles just roll them, and if A.J. Brown doesn't score early and, within the first half or something, it could just be a runaway. So I'm hoping the Jags can stay in this game because if they do, the Eagles are going to fly. Eagles fly all over them. Man. Number 4, C.D. Lamb. So C.D. Lamb last week just ate up the 49er defense in garbage time, prevent defense. We were playing absolutely retarded defense down the stretch. I know we were up 20. So you could say that C.D. Lamb was having a good game to start. He only had 9 points till the end of the garbage time. So he got 24 points in the last 8 minutes of the game. Now, do I still like C.D. Lamb versus the Falcons? Of course, right? It's C.D. Lamb. You're not going to sit this guy ever. But the Atlanta Falcons, they're going to have Terrell shadowing him, Simmons and Bates. Bates just made 2 incredible plays last week to win the game for the Falcons. They have a great secondary, so they're not going to be able to pop the top like they did on the 49ers. I see more of an underneath game. CD's going to have to create with some yak in this game. It's going to be a little different look. But the Falcons ranked 27th versus the wide receiver game with 35.5 points. They ranked 31st in the red zone, so the touchdown upside is definitely there. And 145 pass yards just to the wide receiver position alone, which is bottom 10 in the NFL. But they played an insane schedule for the Falcons defense. So when you're looking at those numbers, it's skewed. They've played literally like 6 playoff teams already this season. So the defense is definitely battle tested. And CD's kind of their only weapon. Tolbert's getting better. I know that. Cook's still on IR. But, CD Lamb is still going to be in my top 5 no matter what. Number 5, hoping for the big game here. Tyreek Hill. Got Tua back last week. The first half looked great, and then the second half just disappeared. And I know that they got a 15 or 14 play drive by the Cardinals. Then they got a safety right after. They went another 13 play drive. So they pretty much ate up time of possession in the second half and kept Tyreek Hill off the field. Now you're playing Buffalo. Now you're in a possible shootout game. The Dolphins season is on the line at 2-6. I expect Tyreek Hill to absolutely eat, even though the matchup is not that great. So Buffalo alone has 3 corners that are top 12 PFF ranked across the board. So this is a very good pass defense. The Buffalo Bills rank 6th versus the wide receiver, 27.2 points per game. They rank 3rd in the red zone, and they give up 123 yards, which is top 10 in the NFL for a pass defense. But I don't care. This is Tyreek Hill. This is the big game. This is all or nothing right here, and they better feed this guy like crazy. Number 6, Amon-Ra. I was a lot lower on Amon-Ra last week. People gave me shit. Look what happened, man. They played the Tennessee Titans. The game script was bad. I absolutely nailed that. I know he found the end zone, but still, the volume was not there. And it honestly is scary that it could be the same thing here. So I have him at 6 right now, but if Jordan Love isn't out there, I would drop him down to about 11 or 12 because I think it's just going to be more of a run game volume, just like Tennessee. I don't think Green Bay is going to be able to keep up with Malik Willis at quarterback. So this ranking is tempered on the fact that if Jordan Love is playing, because this is a 6-1, 6-2 division game, playoff seeding on the line, everything here. So I expect Jordan Love to be out there, but they also have a bye in week 10. So they could be sitting him if they're smart. So remember that when we're, or I'll repost on Twitter and stuff like that later in the week. Then number 7, this is the same thing here. So if Jordan Love is out there, Jaden Reed, this is absolute gold, guys. The Detroit Lions rank 30th versus the wide receiver, giving up 42 points per game, 9th in the red zone, so they stingy up there. They give up 210 pass yards to the wide receiver position alone. Dead last in the NFL. So Jordan Love is out there. This is just like my call with Calvin Ridley last week, man. No one was on Calvin Ridley. I told you guys Calvin Ridley's going to pop on this Detroit Lions secondary. They cannot stop the pass. So if Jordan Love is out here, Jaden Reed is going to have a monster day. So both these rankings, when you're looking at Reed and Amon-Ra, I would drop them down to about the mid-tier 2, beginning of tier 2, if Jordan Love is not out there. Now, here we go, right here. This is where DK Metcalf would go. It says he's optimistic to play. They're playing the LA Rams this week. So I'm holding off for now. I'm just going to show that right now. That's where I would put him. I would put him in tier 1, the LA Rams versus the wide receiver. They rank 11th, 30.5 points per game, 16th in the red zone, 132 yards, bottom 10 there as well. And this is a big division game, man. 3-4 Rams, 4-4 Seattle, 4-4 Cardinals, 4-4 Niners. Everyone's fighting, right? So what I forgot to do already here, we're going to come back to it here, is talked about the Eagles. So I'll show my Devonta Smith ranking. He's at 13. Talked about the Eagles game. Could be the same thing for Devonta here. If they get ahead and blow out the Jags, could be ugly game script for them here. So also brought up Jamar Chase. Talked about the Bengals here. So I'm going to pop T. Higgins on there. He's at my wide receiver 24. We talked about the Bengal game and the Packers game. I'm high on every single Packer in this game. So I'm going to show my Christian Watson and my Romeo Doubs here. So again, if Jordan Love is out there, this defense is terrible. Calvin really just had 100 yards in the first quarter. All these wide receivers can eat. They're all flexible plays. Jaden Reed's obviously more than a flex play. But if Jordan Love plays, this is where I have all the wide receivers because I love the matchup versus the Detroit Lions. They cannot stop the pass. Now, heading back into tier 1 here, number 8 and number 9, we'll do them together. Puka Nacua, the return, and he just goes bonkers. They said he was going to be limited. Yeah, he's not going to play much. He came out there and almost played every single snap. I can't stand these updates this year that happen in fantasy football. It's just crazy to me. Cooper Kupp, the Rams get the win. Looks like he's staying. Looks like the trade rumors are gone. They're going to ride it out one more time. And you get the Seattle Seahawks secondary here. So the Seattle Seahawks, and remember, if you've watched any of my videos from the start of the season, their defensive rankings are fraudulent to me. So they're 13th versus the wide receiver, giving up 31.3. But remember, they started off the season with the easiest schedule of all time. Bo Nix, Jacoby Brissett, and Skylar Thompson. So this defense is not really a top 13 defense to me. It's more around the 20s. But they give up 31.3 points per game. They rank 18th in the red zone, and they drop 132.5 yards to the wide receiver position, which is top 15. So again, if I add 3 games of stud playoff teams, this defense would look a lot different. And you have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. I'm absolutely starting these guys no matter what. Number 10, Malik Neighbors, 1 foot out of bounds from a touchdown last night. Dropping some balls, though. That was kind of interesting to me. I didn't expect that from Malik Neighbors in that game. But now you're going to get the matchup that you need for Malik Neighbors to absolutely pop this week. But they've gotten better, guys. So he gets the Washington Commanders this week. And I got to show this, or I'm not going to show this, but I'll talk about it here. So the Commanders are now 20th versus the wide receiver. At the beginning of the season, the Commanders were 31st, 32nd, dead last. They have been improving. They just held the Bears down. I still like this for Malik Neighbors, though. They give up 33.4 points per game. They're 25th. They give up 7.5 to the wide receiver in the red zone alone, 145 yards, which is middle tier here. And they got to feed Neighbors. But what's even crazier is the Commanders are one of the worst versus the slot. So it could be a big day for Wan'Dale Robinson here, too. I'm not going to have him in the rankings, but something to think about there. On to the Falcon side, and we got 2 of them now. Mooney is finally on my board. Let me pull him up here at the bottom. So Drake London coming in at 11. Darnell Mooney coming in at 36 at the very end for me here. And I didn't like Mooney last week versus Carolina, and he proved me wrong. They get the Dallas Cowboys this week. And again, like in my running back video, the Dallas Cowboys are about to get healthy, though. They haven't had Parsons. They haven't had Lawrence. They haven't had Bland. He's been on IR since the beginning of the season. And now they might all be coming back this week. So remember that when you're hearing these numbers right here. So the Cowboys are 14th versus the wide receiver, giving up 31.3, 17th in the red zone, and 144 yards on the season to the wide receiver position. But you're about to get your stud cornerback to go along with Diggs. You're about to get one of the best pass rusher linebackers to put the pressure on the quarterback with Micah Parsons. Lawrence may be back. So this Cowboys defense could be on the uptick coming up here. Could be a tougher matchup for the Falcons, but I still like the rankings where they're at 11 and 36. Coming in at the end of tier 1 here. Oh, oops, I went too far. DJ Moore. It's time for Shane Waldron to get the ball to his superstar wide receiver. I don't know what is going on in Chicago, man. This is the perfect matchup. You get the Arizona Cardinals. You get your defense coming back healthy. You get Brisker and Gray back. That's going to help the Chicago Bears defense a ton. And now they get the Cardinals, who rank 24th versus the wide receiver, giving up 34.3 points, 27th in the red zone. So the touchdown upside is here for Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore. And they give up 157 yards, which is bottom 10 in the NFL at yards allowed to the wide receiver. And you know that the defense is going to get you the ball more and more and more now when they get healthy. This Bears defense is very good, guys. So I expect DJ Moore to bounce back. I still have him in tier 1. I'm not giving up hope yet. Now, Devonta Smith at number 13 in tier 2. Moving on to Chris Olave. Derek Carr is going to be back. And look what happened with Olave last week. So we get the Rashid Shaheed news, out for the season. Then Olave gets a concussion, misses the game. So the Saints are just falling apart. Then you get Rattler in at QB, and Olave sees 14 targets. This is why I was telling you to buy low on Chris Olave. Volume is king. 8 targets, 107 yards. Now you get the Carolina Panthers, your fantasy football pot of gold across everything. Tight end, running back, wide receiver, quarterback. They can't stop anything. They should be fire selling everything they have. They give up 33.6 points to the wide receiver position a game. That ranks 23rd. They rank 20th in the red zone, so the touchdown upside is there. And they give up 150 yards. That's bottom 10 in the NFL as well. The only thing I'd be afraid of here is if it just becomes Alvin Kamara's show and they just run him out the building, because I don't think the Panthers have much left, man. Moving on to my next guy, number 15. It's just got to stop. All the questions, everything there is about Terry McLaurin, just stop it. This man is a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy football the rest of the way. The target share is too good with JD5 out there healthy. I don't want to hear like, do I start this guy or like T. Higgins or Devon? It's just crazy. Start Terry McLaurin every single week. I don't care about the matchup. I don't care what it is. This man is good at football. He's my wide receiver 15, but it's going to be a tough matchup, but I still don't care. So you're going to get the Chicago Bears. Like I said, their defense is phenomenal. They're going to have Jalen Johnson. He shadows at a 50% rate. They're going to now have Brisker back over the top, one of the best safeties. Going to make it tough there as well. So when you hear these Bears numbers, remember, they've been missing 3 stars on defense. So they're still number 9 versus the wide receiver. They give up 28.6. They rank number 1 in the red zone, so the touchdown upside is very low. And they give up 143 yards, which is top 15 in the NFL at yards to the wide receiver position. But again, it doesn't matter. The JD5 connection is growing and growing and growing. He's starting to motion for deep balls now. It's even better. He's calling his own audibles for it. It was amazing to watch last game. And then McLaurin was just talking shit on the sideline. You ain't shit. You ain't. That shit was tight. So I'm such a Terry McLaurin fan, and all the questions about him, it's always start Terry McLaurin. Number 16 and number 17, they're going to go together here. The time is now, Jets. You cannot mess around anymore. We cannot throw another game away here. So I'm going to have Devontae Adams at 16 and Garrett Wilson at 17. And the matchup is good. The only problem with the matchup is can that offensive line hold for enough time for Aaron Rodgers to get rid of the ball? Because the Houston Texans rank 22nd. They give up 33.4 points to the wide receiver position. They rank 10th in the red zone, so they get stingier there. They give up 145 yards on the season, which is middle of the tier. But they also just lost Stephon Diggs. Nico Collins is still on IR. It's Tank Dell, Hutchinson, and John Mechie out there at wide receiver to go along with Schultz and Mixon. They still got weapons, but it's going to be a different looking Texans offense, and they've been struggling on offense. So I'm taking the Jets to win this game, and you got to feed your stars in this game, man. So I'm going to keep Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson at 16 and 17. Number 18, your biggest buy low you could get right now. Amari Cooper. I do not know what happened last game. I thought it was a smash. I didn't have him on smash plays, but I had him on the stardom. So I'm kind of mad that he only played 50% of the snaps. I expect him to get more acclimated with the offense, get more involved, and be up to what he usually is, a 90% wide receiver out there. He only saw 2 targets, 1.3 points with Josh Allen at quarterback. That's crazy to me. Keon Coleman had another big day. It's opened up things for him. But still, Amari Cooper is the alpha, and he's going to get back on track here. Now, moving down to tier 4, this is if he plays. BTJ. So he went from 2 to 4 weeks. I have a chest and rib injury. That was the update. And then 2 hours later, you get the fact that, now Doug Peterson says he's day to day. So now with Christian Kirk out, he becomes a superstar of fantasy football like he already was a top 10 wide receiver. So now the target share just becomes more and more and more. It's the him and Evan Ingram show. You might see a little Parker Washington mixed in. I never trust Gabe Davis with anything. But you get the Philadelphia Eagles. This is the Eagles' weak spot, and this is the best spot for Brian Thomas Jr. to get a touchdown. So 19th versus the wide receiver, 32.3 points on the season, but they rank 29th in the red zone versus the wide receiver, 8.8 points per game. They're 6'4", big body frame. BTJ could be in for a big game if he's out there, guys. So make sure you're paying attention to the injury updates because they were very weird this week. Right after him is going to be Tank Dell, and his value skyrockets for this week 100%. I know the matchup is not great. You're going to get DJ Reed. You're going to get Sauce Gardner. It's going to be rough. They're number 2 versus the wide receiver. They only give up 25 points a game. They're number 11 in the red zone, and they give up 108.1 yards, which is top 5 in the NFL. Sorry, not top 5. That is number 1 in the NFL. But volume is king. Who else are they going to pass the ball to? I never trust Dalton Schultz. John Mechie has flashed. I liked him out of Oklahoma when he first came out. Xavier Hutchinson, I'm not buying into. Dalton Schultz, yeah, I've never really been on the Dalton Schultz train. He's not a bad tight end. I just don't like him for fantasy purposes. But he's got to step up. So Tank Dell, if there's ever a time to step up, it is now, Thursday night, prime time. And I could see just one of those crazy Tank games coming, even with the matchup that he has. Oh, number 16, we're going through it. I'm out of breath. Jaylen Warren, I talked about the Dolphins already versus Buffalo, so Tyreek Hill. I mean, I'm going to put him at wide receiver 21. It's been, Jalen Waddle's just had a down year, man. It's really, really ugly. I know Tua was gone, but I expect him to be at least a top 20 wide receiver this week. Moving on to my next guy, number 22, Marvin Harrison Jr. I was not high on anything about him last week. My guy, Big Draft Energy, was, and man, he nailed that. Marvin Harrison Jr. absolutely popped off. But now you get the Bears. It's another super tough matchup. Like I said, the Bears ranked 9th versus the wide receiver, 28.6. They're number 1 in the red zone. So very, very tough matchup here. I think I messed up with Terry McLaurin, by the way. Terry McLaurin is not playing the Bears. My bad, guys. So let's rewind it here. Back to Terry McLaurin. They're playing the New York Giants. Pumping out so many videos, I got the wrong thing. Terry McLaurin gets a good matchup versus the Giants. They rank 16th, 31.5 points. 8th in the red zone, and 140 middle of the tier there. So you just watch George Pickens get 2 TDs called back. The Giants are very susceptible to being beat by the wide receiver 1. So I said that wrong. So Marvin Harrison gets the brutal matchup versus the Bears. Jalen Johnson, Brisker back, Gray back. It's going to be a different looking Bears defense, and it's going to be tough, but Marvin Harrison's so elite, man. He looked so good last week. I'm still going to keep him up here. Whew, number 23. Now, with the addition of Deontay Johnson, who I'm not going to put in my rankings on his first game, I don't know how it's going to look for Zay. I think you're going to see more 11 personnel now. You won't see the double tight end play. I think it really hurts Isaiah Likely. I think you're going to see, Deontay Johnson, Zay be involved. And who's really the better possession receiver? Probably Deontay Johnson. Zay's more of a gadget guy, get him into open space. So this trade really could hurt Zay Flowers' value, but it's kind of just a wait and see for me here. The Baltimore Ravens are going to get coming off their, brutal loss to the Cleveland Browns and Jameis Winston. I still can't believe that happened. But the Baltimore Ravens, come in! I'm streaming! Can you go around back? So the Baltimore Ravens, my stepmama and fiance showed up midstream here. There go the dogs going crazy. Welcome. Actually, pause right here. Sorry about that, guys. Had my mother-in-law and father-in-law coming to town right there. We've been watching their dogs for 10 days. They just got back from Washington midstream. So back to where I was here. Ended with T. Higgins in tier 3 here. Heading into tier 4 now. Now this one could be a big bump here. So Michael Pittman. Now with Joe Flacco named the starter, if you look at the numbers, right? So you got to look at weeks 1 to 3 with Anthony Richardson and then 7 and 8 with Anthony Richardson. He never popped 10 points in any of those games. Now, in the 3 games with Flacco, 17 points, 14 points, 13 points. You get the Minnesota Vikings, guys. They rank 32nd versus the wide receiver, giving up 46.1 points. 32nd in the red zone, so the touchdown upside is there for Pittman. And 204 pass yards, which is second worst to the Detroit Lions. So Michael Pittman's value just absolutely skyrocketed with Joe Flacco at the quarterback. And I honestly should have ranked him higher. But Josh Downs is also electric, so I'm going to leave him here for now. Coming in next to him at number 26, DeAndre Hopkins. Only played 30% of the snaps last week. Just got acclimated to the Kansas City Chiefs. They said they were going to use him all over the place. I didn't buy any of it. I told you guys to hold off. I hope you guys did. Now, this is the time where if you're in a 12-man deeper league, competitive league here, this is the time where DeAndre Hopkins is going to be an okay play. So it comes into the game last week, right? He was even open on that touchdown to Travis Kelce. He could have thrown it to either one of them. DeAndre Hopkins could have had his first touchdown, right? Still saw 3 targets, 2 receptions, 29 yards, and only 32% of snap share. Now you get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers ranked 28th versus the wide receiver with 35.8 points per game, 13th in the red zone, so they stingy up in the red zone, but 158 pass yards in total to the wide receiver position, which is bottom 10 in the NFL. And the connection is only going to grow. People forget how elite DeAndre Hopkins is. He's never had a quarterback like this. and it's just going to get better and better and better. And if you can buy low now, I'd be buying low now. Coming in after him at number 27, Calvin Ridley. My call of the week last week to start Calvin Ridley, the sleeper call. Like I said, the Detroit Lions, man, they give up so many yards. That's why I like the Green Bay Packers this week if Jordan Love is out there healthy in a massive game, because he absolutely shredded the Detroit Lions. He had 100 yards in the first quarter, guys. Now, Calvin Ridley this week, going to get a different matchup here. You're going to get the New England Patriots. You possibly draw a little bit of Christian Gonzalez here and there. He's supposed to be a lockdown shadow corner, but has not been doing his job lately. He's been being beat in like 3-4 games in a row now. So the New England Patriots ranked 21st versus the wide receiver, 33.4 points per game, 23rd in the red zone. So the touchdown upside is there for Ridley, 156 yards, which is bottom 10 as well. And there's no D-Hop. You saw where every single target went to. It went to almost Calvin Ridley on almost every single play. It was crazy to watch. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. He had 15 targets, guys. 15 targets. Just like I said was going to happen, happened. This is why you subscribe to the channel, to get the information ahead of time. So coming in after Calvin Ridley here, I talked about the Vikings already with Justin Jefferson, so Jordan Addison. They're going to get a shootout matchup with the Colts. You should definitely like to start Jordan Addison as a flex this week. Christian Watson, we talked about him. Moving on to the Bears here with DJ Moore, I talked about as well. And Keenan Allen is kind of an up and down roller coaster. He's kind of becoming, I'm not going to say like a decoy. He's not a decoy, but he's kind of becoming the red zone target or like the move the chain target, right? He still played 97% of the snaps last week, 7 targets still. I know it wasn't a great game for him, but he's still going to be a flexible wide receiver weekly. And in this game for the Bears, you're going to get the Arizona Cardinals. Like we talked about with DJ Moore, this is a light him up, very, very bad defense versus the wide receiver. They're ranked 24th and 27th in the red zone. So Keenan Allen can be a nice flex play this week. Tier 5, Lab McConkey coming out with 2 touchdowns last week. It seems like the Chargers all of a sudden have opened up their pass game, and it's crazy. So Justin Herbert didn't pass for anything over 250 to the last 2 games, 300, 250 back-to-back. And Lab McConkey saw 6 targets, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 grab over the top of the defender for the rookie. Looked very nice. Now, in this matchup, you're going to get the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, like I said, their defensive numbers are skewed. So they do rank 25th versus the wide receiver, giving up 35 points a game. So when you're looking at that, it looks like a plus matchup. But again, this defense is really good. They've just been out there all season long. So it's not as good as matchup as it really looks on paper to me. So I still like Ladd as a flex play. I have him at wide receiver 31, guys. Number 32, right behind him, Courtland Sutton, coming in with a big game last week. I don't know. I think the Ravens cornerbacks will be back out there this week. They were missing Marlon Humphrey. They were missing Nate Wiggins, the rookie, and they got destroyed. But they're also very bad versus the pass, regardless of them being out there or not. So Courtland Sutton saw 11 targets last week, 100-yard game. Absolute smash performance from him. And you get the Baltimore Ravens, who rank 31st versus the wide receiver, giving up 45 points a game, 28th in the red zone. So there's a very high touchdown upside here, and 190 yards a game to the wide receiver position. Bottom 5 in the NFL, and Bo Nix is starting to turn it on here. So Courtland Sutton is an okay flex play this week as well. I have him at wide receiver 32. Wide receiver 33, proved me wrong. He hit the boom. He hit the touchdown at the end of the game to seal the game. I'm never really high on Xavier Worthy. I know, people like the boomer bust plays. It's not really my style in fantasy football. I know the ceiling can be there. He only had 13 points, 37 yards, got a touchdown, didn't even get loose really. And I think with DeAndre Hopkins getting more acclimated, it's going to be less volume for him, except for like taking off the top big plays. So if you like the boomer bust play, you can throw it out there. It's probably going to be more of a, depends on if Tampa can stay in the game on Monday night. Could be a more Kareem Hunt game here. Now, Jackson Smith and Jigba. This again relies on DK Metcalf, right? So I said DK Metcalf, he's out there. I put him up here, right here against the LA Rams. If DK Metcalf cannot go, but there's optimism he can play, I would move Jackson Smith and Jigba probably up around the Jordan Addison area up here. So he'd be about tier 4. He'd be about, wide receiver 27, 28 for me. But with DK possibly being back, I'm definitely going to drop JC's and down. And he really didn't do much with the opportunity last week. I know he got 9 points, but it was nothing special. I mean, he's got all the talent. It's just not working for some reason. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of the episode. That is my wide receiver week 9 rankings, all tiers. Remember, 49ers Steelers on a bye. Make sure they're out of your rosters this week. Before we head out, guys, make sure you smash that like. Make sure you hit that subscription button. Turn that bell on. It helps me out a ton. I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support. And again, guys, I'll be live on Thursday for my birthday. And if you can't make that live stream or the Sunday stream, drop any comments you have down below. I try to answer every single one of them. That's a major goal of mine this year, to help you guys out. And I will also get my tight end rankings out later today. And then tomorrow I'll start all my stardom sit-em, guys. And that is it for me tonight, guys. Sleazeball. Not tonight. That's it for me in this episode. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Sleazeball out.